Welcome to the Morning Blitz with John Abraham, Captain Cool, and the Bandiman Bailey Lowery. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Captain Cool.
Hello and welcome in, everybody. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman Bailey Lowery here on a wacky Wednesday in no man's land. We got a lot of stuff we want to touch on today, and I will say this. The Alabama season is over, but 2024 season starts today, or whenever it did start. I know that instantly Nick Saban wants to get into it, and to help us kind of talk about not only just the end of the season, but the beginning of a new season is one Mr. Drew DeArmond from Talkin' Ball, presented by Mercury Motors and Alumni Hall. Drew, how are you doing today, man?
Good. It's been a while since I've been with you guys,
Yep.
really since Orange Beach before Christmas. Because our schedules get a little spotty. We take a little bit of time off during the holidays, be with our families, both for Christmas and New Year. And we have what is the marathon known as the Huntsville City Classic, which was Bandy. Appreciate him. He helped us out over there. We had a great 3 days over at Huntsville High. Some awesome basketball. We had really, we were well represented in the city. Huntsville High wins it for the first time since 1985. It was my 34th straight tournament. I've been doing it since I was 14, before you guys were even you guys were just twinkles in the eyes of your parents.
True that.
So I've been doing it for a long time, and it was the first time I've had a chance to see Huntsville High win it. So it was a very emotional 3 days. It was a great final with Austin and Huntsville, because it was interesting because Huntsville had played the Black Bears twice, the second game of the regular season, and then the finals of the N2 Hoops, the Thanksgiving Classic, over at Bob Jones. And they had won both of them handily by 23 and 22, but it was not to be this time. This was a classic down-to-the-wire game. And then J.D. Gossett, a.k.a. Riggs, as I call him, from Lethal Weapon, he made the 2 free throws to win the game. There was almost a gravedigger play because they threw the ball the length of the floor, got a shot off, but it was over the backboard. I don't think it would have counted. Luckily, it didn't go into for them to have to make a decision like that. But a 61-60 Huntsville win. Just a tremendous 3 days for Huntsville basketball, because it's very hard to win 4 games in 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
Against that level of competition. And our Buckhorn Bucks, I know you guys are the voice of the Bucks. They, once again, just like kind of the N2 Hoops, there was an anticipation that there would be a Buckhorn-Huntsville final and a lot of electricity, but they played a very good Centennial Tennessee team. And it was probably the best opening game of the day. It was a tremendous basketball game. Unfortunately, due to going to the City of Palms Classic, they had lost Jeremiah Wilson, which nobody knew until the tournament started. He didn't play in the 3-day event. He had a little bit of a thigh situation, so he couldn't play. And they lose a game pretty much at the buzzer to Centennial. Now, they responded very well. They won 3 straight. They won the 5th place game, so the Bucks had a good run. They're on a little bit of a break now. I know you guys will be back at it next week with them, but they're not going to play until the 9th. Because see, a lot of it's interesting. In high school basketball, once you get through the Classic, you basically have a month. You have 4 weeks till you sprint to the end. And like Huntsville High has not even started area play. They start their most important games. They play Grissom at home on Friday, then Albertville, then Sparkman. They play 6 area games within just a 2 or 3 week span. I know Buckhorn's already kind of started their area play, but it will start back in earnest after they take this break. And then hopefully they'll have Jeremiah back. I was told that it wasn't a long-term situation. They were just being precautionary because he's very important to this for this Bucks team to try to repeat as 6A champs. But we saw them finish 5th. We saw the Grissom Tigers finish 3rd. They beat James Clemens in the 3rd place game, and that's a situation where James Clemens had beaten Grissom twice. But it's hard to beat a good team 3 times. That's what Huntsville got done against Austin. So there's going to be some really good basketball. This Grissom-Huntsville game will be off the wall Friday. It'll be another sellout, I would think. Very exciting atmosphere. So we're looking forward to that. But it was a great break. But now, you just mentioned it, John, as we kind of came into the segment, Alabama, they finally played that Rose Bowl game, a heartbreaking loss. A good comeback. They got off to a very slow start. Michigan's credit, I said this on Talking Ball yesterday, Michigan just won the game. I'm not complaining about officiating. I'm not making a big. A lot of people are womped up about play calling, but offensively they just got beat.
Yeah.
I mean, they just lost the game at the line of scrimmage. The thing that does bother me is when it mattered most, when Alabama did rally and they put themselves in position 20-13 with 4:41 on the clock, they needed one stop.
Yeah.
They got it down to 4th and 2. They couldn't make the 4th and 2 stop. They couldn't keep Michigan from – now, they were inches away, I think, almost from getting a game-sealing interception, but they couldn't make that last defensive stop. And then people are making a lot about what was the play call? Why wasn't it executed better to score the tying touchdown? My biggest problem is Michigan ran it up Alabama's ass twice and scored with ease in the overtime. I'm more bothered by the defensive line play and being able to stop somebody when you have to. Yeah. And so I think it'll be interesting. We already saw some changes because you were kind of referencing that. Alabama's already had – I mean, look, this has happened. This is 17 year. Scott talked about this on the show. This is the 17th year anniversary of Saban coming to Tuscaloosa. Never has he brought back the same coaching staff. It's continuing again. Coleman Hutzler's gone to Mississippi State. Now Holman Wiggins has gone to Texas A&M. There might be one or two more changes. So he's going to make changes to the staff. It's going to be interesting to see what more if he continues with more roster changes. They've added to the offensive tackle room in the transfer portal, the defensive line room in the transfer portal, and the defensive backfield because Damani Jackson, the corner from USC, he visited during the bowl preparation. That's what's so weird now with this portal stuff. You can visit and they can talk about it. They can put it on the media, can even say, hey, Damani Jackson just walked through the gate. Nick Saban can be videoed shaking the kid's hand, and then he commits that night and decides after watching practice, this is where I want to be. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see the tweaks Alabama makes. We know Georgia's lost a lot of guys to the portal. Ole Miss has been the portal kings. Is it going to work? That was a topic we talked about today. But I think Alabama's team overall, when you take it into the entire body of work, they overachieved. I really think this group did. I thought it was Nick Saban's best job because after spring practice, I think everybody knew when Tyler Buckner, who's now a lacrosse player at Notre Dame, when he was brought in for probably $300,000 of NIL money, that he used at Chick-fil-A a lot. I mean,
it's a good restaurant.
He started one game. Yeah. It was a disaster nearly. They nearly lost to South Florida. No row came farther in 1 year than I've ever seen a quarterback. I know he didn't play well in this last game, but Michigan had something to do with that. Sometimes you have to credit the other team and how good they are. And this Michigan team has got a chance to win the national championship. I know we were going to talk about that. It's fascinating to me because I'll be honest, I whiffed. I picked Alabama and I picked Texas.
You're not the only one.
Right there with you. I thought the same thing.
I thought the whole studio was the one picking those two teams.
Yeah, so they both fell short. And I thought it would be a rematch in Houston. I thought we would be there. We're not.
It'd be a perfect storyline, I'll say that.
Well, yeah, but as far as what happened, earlier in the season and have a rematch, but we're not having it. Washington was undervalued, I think. I undervalued them. I mean, hell, I picked them to lose to Oregon twice.
No.
Didn't happen. I know they've been the kings of the close game. Like, I think they've won 11 straight by one score. And so they just know how to win. And yet Michigan is just this old school beat you up, and win the line of scrimmage kind of team. Yeah. And that's what it's going to take. They're going to have to get Penix on the ground. If they can do that, if they can control the game with the running game and the time of possession, because that's another thing. Alabama actually outrushed Michigan and held the ball longer. But they weren't able to punch in drives in the red zone, and then they couldn't get the defensive stop they needed to win the game. So Michigan escaped. Can they pressure Penix? Can they turn him over? Now, I've seen Washington earlier in the year, like Arizona State, for example, when they were on the road there. Josh Pate joined us this morning. He talked about they won, but he talked about the style of game they had to play at rainy Corvallis at Oregon State. But can they block Michigan? Can they give Penix the time he needs to find this core of receivers that's as good as any in college football? I don't know. That's going to be the big matchup to me. I'm probably going to lean a little bit toward Michigan, because I think I still say defense travels and the line of scrimmage is how you win. But again, Penix is a pinpoint guy. It's going to be interesting because Alabama was rolling, and then they ran into Clemson, and Clemson's balance, and then Clemson was able to turn Alabama over early. That's probably going to be the key for Michigan. Can they get to Penix early and get him off rhythm? Because if he gets in a rhythm, we saw what happened against the Longhorns. Good Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, for a half, it was trade scores, but then you come out in the third quarter, and they still couldn't figure out what Washington was doing, and Washington starts pulling away. So I don't think anybody before the season started thought Washington would be playing for the national championship. There were several that picked Michigan that thought they were going to be in the playoff and be heavily in this mix. But it's a very interesting contrast in styles, and I would lean toward a classic. I mean, Wolverine Dan was on with us at the end of the show today. He picked Michigan in a very close game. I would probably lean the same way. I would probably say, 27-24 Michigan, that they would find a way to run the ball with Corum and make enough plays. Because, again, I know J.J. McCarthy's not flashy, but dude's lost one game in his career, and that was to Wofford.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff going on in this game.
TCU.
There's a lot of stuff going on in this game, too, that makes me think how Michigan's going to be playing their type of football. Is it going to be the type of football that they played against Penn State and Ohio State, where they held them to less yardage or less time on offense? And I think that's the way that Michigan could win this one. But at the same time, you see the way that Penix has been throwing the ball. Obviously, he's got Odunze. He's got a whole plethora of guys that can catch the ball.
Six dudes, I think, caught at least 3 balls.
Yeah,
I mean, they spread the ball out.
It's insane to see. And it's the craziest thing to see is that 2 of these guys, Polk and Odunze, in the last game against Texas, were able to get over 100 yards receiving by themselves. And that obviously goes well over what Alabama was throwing. And, of course,
and don't forget last year when they lost to Wofford, a.k.a. TCU, they shot their own foot off.
Yeah.
I mean, they made a ton of mistakes, Michigan did, in the game to allow TCU to escape.
Yeah.
So, I think they've been on a mission all year. Are they cheats? Yes. Were they stealing signs? Yes. Have they committed NCAA violations? Yes. Do they deserve to be smacked? Yes. But they're not going to do anything to them through this national championship. And would I be shocked if Harbaugh wins it and then rides off into the sunset to the Chargers and pulls the Pete Carroll? No. But I will say I'm going to stick with my prediction, though. If he wins it, and this will be the first time since '97 when they won a coach championship with Lloyd Carr, I think Michigan's going to make it very difficult for him to leave. Because I think they're going to go nuts. They're going to have parades. They're going to give him whatever he wants. Now, if they lose a classic game and Kalen DeBoer wins this thing, then I could see Harbaugh saying, "Well, I've gotten this program to the precipice. I got it back to relevancy nationally. Now I'm going to coach Justin Herbert with a team with a lot of talent and try to win a Super Bowl." But again, if he wins it all, though, it just changes so much because. 3 years ago, Wolverine Dan was calling the show wanting Khaki Pants fired because he couldn't beat Ohio State. Now he's beat Ohio State 3 years in a row, and now he has them on the precipice of winning it all.
Yeah.
And again, if you win it all, it changes so much. It's like this is the comparison I made yesterday on the show as we're wrapping this segment up. It reminds me of Mark Richt because if you go back to 2012, gentlemen, they lost a classic SEC championship game to Alabama. I mean, in the last seconds, ball was tipped, intercepted, Alabama survives. If Georgia wins that game and scores a touchdown, they are going to maul Notre Dame like Alabama did, and Mark Richt is never fired. Mark Richt has a job for life, and Kirby Smart's in Columbia, South Carolina. That just shows you the pendulum, which now Rick may have had to retire in the last year or two because of, he has Parkinson's now. He's been affected with his health. But he would have coached several more years in Athens. He would have never been fired if he had won the national championship. It's so funny the way the ball bounces.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. Sometimes the script could be totally flipped depending on one little yard or, one catch, one reception. Yeah.
If you guys have ever watched Any Given Sunday, the Inches speech, Al Pacino. There you go.
There you go. Good stuff from Drew DeArmond from Talking Ball. Make sure you guys check him out from 7 to 9 weekdays. Appreciate you hopping on with us. But we got to hop out of here. When we come back, we're going to hop into a little bit more fun in the college and the NFL realm. But we're not talking college football. We're talking women's basketball. Don't get out of here just yet. You're listening to the Morning Blitz here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do afterpaint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book nonstop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
Injuries at work happen all the time in Alabama. So do motor vehicle and slip and fall accidents. If you're hurt at work or injured in an accident, I want you to call my good friends at Pond Lehocky Giordano. That's Pond Lehocky, Alabama's injury law firm. They got your back just like they've got mine. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
The representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying, Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Hello and welcome back in. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery, here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This segment is presented by the wonderful people over at Fleming Roofing and Restoration, the guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online at FlemingHSV.com to fill out your free quote today. And remember that Fleming always shows up. You know what else shows up, Bandy? Our amazing streams over on WZZN TV on YouTube and Twitch. Do we still do it on Twitch, or is it just YouTube? It's just YouTube. Okay, it's just YouTube now. Okay, so don't.
Wait, sorry, my mic.
It's totally fine.
Wasn't on for that, but yeah, no, just YouTube and Twitter. Oh wait, no, X or whatever it's going to be called. In
Elon Musk. Elon Musk calls it X. We all, as the people, we all call it Twitter because also It's still Twitter on this phone because, guys, I told you about this a few weeks ago. My phone exploded while I was setting up for that Christmas party we had over at Flow Supreme Air. It was wonderful. My phone started heating up, and then it never turned back on. So then I had to get my iPhone 8 out of the drawer. Okay, you know, you got that drawer full of phones that don't work anywhere. I grabbed this one out here. I was trying to turn it on, finally turned on. I've got it. It's working. I got my SIM card in it and everything. I'm able to call Bandy whenever I need his help. But the thing is, some of these apps won't update all the way, so I still have Twitter on this phone. It's still Twitter.
Oh.
It's not X, it's Twitter. So
you might be able to sell that for a pretty penny then.
I'm going to keep rolling with that. I highly doubt that.
No, you'd be surprised.
Really?
Dude, people will pay top dollar for phones that still have, like, Angry Bird on them. Or not Angry Birds. Actually, no, wait. Yeah, Angry Birds.
Flappy Birds? Flappy Birds? I remember what you're talking about.
Hey, you still got a phone with the old Twitter logo on it and everything, and it still says Twitter?
It says that. It says right there.
Yeah, there you go.
You can see it. You can see
there
it.
you go. Hey, dude, people will pay for that.
People will pay for it, I guess. But either way, go check us out over on WZZN TV. You wouldn't have been able to see what I was showing the camera if you're just listening on the radio. But don't do it while you're driving. That would be very irresponsible of you, but definitely
You get pulled over for that now, just having it in your hand.
Yeah, that is true. But if you want, you can pull over to the side of the road, subscribe, and then continue on with your drive. But we got some fun stuff to hop into. Bandy, do you have that sounder from last night's Iowa versus Michigan State women's basketball game?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just pull that over here.
Please.
Get the ball up in time. Clark for the win.
Oh my God!
That is a kill shot, Bandy.
I need to hear that one more time.
Big time Clark for the win.
Okay, maybe one more time.
One more. I'm fine with that.
For the win.
Oh my gosh!
It's the whip. It's a kill shot. I love that noise, Bandy. Big stuff from the 14-1 Iowa Hawkeyes in basketball. I know Scott's happy about that, okay? Their football team might have been abysmal at the end of the season, but their women's basketball team is something special. 14-1. The only team they've lost to, I think, was it Kansas State earlier on in the season?
Yeah,
I don't
Kansas
remember.
State. It was Kansas State.
Yeah, but they were able to beat the Michigan State Spartans last night, which is an 11-3 team, not ranked though, which is kind of strange how college basketball does their whole ranking things. You really got to be riding hot, and of course the schedule needs to be a little bit in your favor whenever it comes down to it. But Kayla Clark is slowly but surely going up the list of all-time scorers in college women's basketball. Right now she's sitting at 4th with total career points at 3,189 points. That surely is a lot. She still has a lot of basketball to play this season, which is going to be her last season. I thought last season was going to be her last season, but it wasn't the case. But she did that in front of a sold-out 15,000 people crowd, okay? And I gotta say, women's basketball, college women's basketball is at an all-time high right now.
Yeah.
I don't know about the WNBA, Bandy. I don't even know when that starts playing.
Don't worry about it.
But college basketball, whether it's women's, whether it's men's, it's always going to be so much fun. And I got to say, it's still going hot with Caitlin Clark because she's doing some big stuff. She's also in the top 15 of women's career assists. She's got 909 of those. Women's triple-double, she's got 13 of those. She's sitting at second with 13. The person that's sitting at first, I'm not going to even try and pronounce her name, but she's at 26. So that one might be a little unobtainable, but who knows?
That's a little, wow. Holy, 26.
Who knows? Yeah, I know, 26. It's a big jump from number 3, which is 9. And then on top of that, women's career points produced. Caitlin Clark is in 2. That's a record since 2001-2002 season. She's at 3,228. I mean, she's doing big stuff for this Iowa Hawkeyes team and also the world of ladies basketball, which you gotta love. For me and Bandy, we love basketball.
Yeah.
But we like to stick with our Buckhorn boys basketball team, which I cannot wait to get back into coming up at the end of, what is it, the 9th?
Yeah, the 9th they play at Lee, but you won't be hearing us until the 12th.
Dang.
When they're coming back to Newmarket to play Mae Jemison.
It's been too long. The Huntsville
also
Classic.
A great team. You did great in the tournament.
Yeah, a Huntsville City Classic team. They go up against Centennial, which I knew Centennial back when I was younger. I went to a football camp for them. I didn't expect their team to play too well, but whenever you play these teams from different states, especially another city like Franklin or College Grove that has that high-powered basketball, similar to Huntsville, I mean, you're going to be caught off guard sometimes, and that's exactly what happened. But they went on to win 3 straight after that loss, and just a wonderful performance from that Buckhorn boys basketball team. It's getting me excited to getting back and watching that team play and calling it for you guys here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. But Bandy, in a few moments, we're going to be talking some NFL, and I have to say I'm very excited to talk with one Mr. RJ White from Sportsline.com because I need to know a few things.
Hey, you're talking about MVP odds?
We can talk MVP odds. We can talk about Baker Mayfield's resurgence. Is he a legit quarterback in the NFL? Because now, not only has he brought one team to the playoffs, he has the chance to bring yet another team to the playoffs. Bandy, don't look at me with that face. He might be short. He might throw the ball into his lineman almost every single play. But you know what? He's got his team in a position to make it to the playoffs. And I got to say, Cleveland Browns, why? Why did you get Deshaun Watson? You had a guy that could probably do just the same. Who knows? Deshaun Watson's 5-1 this season as a quarterback, but he's injured, so I have no idea what he's going to do.
We got the draft coming up, and I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I got a little faith in the Falcons to beat Tampa Bay.
Dude.
I got a little bit of faith.
That's another thing.
I got some faith.
That's another thing, though, okay? The Falcons,
the NFC.
The Falcons are
NFC
going,
South.
they're going up against the New Orleans Saints. There is a chance.
Not the Saints, not the Bucs, the Saints.
It's okay. They're all technically the same average terrible teams, okay? But the Falcons will be going up against New Orleans in Week 17, and there is a chance that they might make it to the playoffs. Now, I thought for sure, I saw a post on Facebook, Twitter, something like that, that said that they were eliminated. And then it turns around, I see a post from the Grizz, a.k.a. Chad Guafney. He posts on Twitter, so you're telling me there's a chance if there was like a few stipulations that fall into place. I need to figure out every single one of those stipulations and more from RJ White because you know he'll have the answers. And on top of that, what the hell's going on with the Eagles? Look, they go up against the Cardinals. They go up against the Cardinals. You think, hey, the whole city of Philly's going to be having a party tonight. Look, I'm going to get my little boy, little Jimmy's going to come to this Eagles game for his first game. They're going up against the Cardinals. They've won 3 games. What could possibly go wrong? Well, Jalen Hurts played well. The rest of the team played well. A.J. Brown didn't get enough receptions. And, the Cardinals decided to use every single weapon they've got to find themselves in a win that beautiful, beautiful Sunday. I'm not too upset with it because it's the NFC. I'm upset with it, though, because Jalen Hurts lost another game to a crappy team. That's what I'm upset with. But you know what? I think it's going to be fine because they're still top dogs over there in the NFC. Behind the 49ers, of course. Behind the 49ers. Take it easy. Take it easy. Jalen Hurts, though, 3 touchdowns? Not bad. James Conner, on the other hand, 128 yards, a touchdown, and he was involved in the passing game as well. Mm-hmm. So definitely a lot of fun stuff to get into with RJ White. So don't go anywhere because you're listening to The Morning Blitz here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Unlike other credit cards that decline sports betting transactions or treat them as a cash advance, the GBank Visa Signature Card can load directly to your favorite sportsbook apps. G.bank/VSiN.
The NFL regular season wraps up this weekend with a number of playoff spots still on the line. The AFC South still wide open with Jacksonville, Indianapolis, and Houston tied at 9-7. The NFC South up for grabs with Tampa and New Orleans tied at 8-8. The Niners are a plus 225 favorite to win the Super Bowl. College hoops tonight, 2 AP Top 25 matchups with number 16 Clemson on the road at Miami. The Hurricanes are 10-2. The Tigers 11-1. Both teams are 1-0 in the ACC right now. Clemson's a 1.5-point favorite. 11-2 Providence, 2-0 in the Big East. Home tonight, favored by 6.5 against Seton Hall. They're 8-5, 1-1 in the conference. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list and maybe a little scary, but it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-4649. 3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is, I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
Who the? What? Hello, welcome back.
This is in the rotation.
Honestly, it makes me kind of happy. Kind of ups my spirits. Is that from Mario or something, or Yoshi's World?
Hey, remember, Chad put this in.
Chad put that in. Yeah, so he.
No, that's not. Hey.
We won't get copyright for this.
No, we won't get copyright.
I swear on that. All right, welcome back. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery, here on a wacky Wednesday in no man's land on the Morning Blitz.
Good times.
So, right now the NFC South is kind of crazy, all right? And that's one thing I do want to focus on. I know. It's probably going to be whoever gets into the playoffs from this conference or this division is going to end up losing in the first round. Depends. There might be some crazy secret that these guys have been holding out on us, but the Buccaneers, the Saints, and the Falcons right now all have a chance at making it to the playoffs. 8-8 are the Buccaneers and the Saints, and the Falcons are 7-9. Thankfully enough, all of these teams are playing each other, including the Panthers getting in on a little bit of the action against the Buccaneers this weekend. And to help us kind of talk about these matchups, as well as the rest of the NFL matchups in this final week of the NFL season, is one Mr. RJ White from Sportsline.com. RJ, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We are doing wonderful. I hope you had a great Christmas season, New Year's, all that holiday stuff. I hope it was the best for you. But NFC South looking a little wacky right now. But, we cover the Falcons here because we have them on our station every single week. And there is, it's been an up and down season altogether. And to say that this team is 7-9 and still has a chance at the playoffs is definitely interesting for us, because there have been times when we thought this team was down and out for sure. But you're telling me there's a chance that the Atlanta Falcons still have a possibility of making it to the playoffs. Talk about how that's possible, and talk about why it's going to be very difficult, even though there's probably not too many things to it.
Yeah, only two situations need to happen. The Falcons need to win, and the Buccaneers need to lose. So both are unlikely to happen. Those are the more unlikely scenarios to happen when you look at these spreads. You also take into account the Falcons typically struggling on the road this year. I'm sure you guys know their 2 wins this year weren't that impressive. A close win against the Jets, close win against the Buccaneers, and then they went out and lost games to teams like the Panthers, the worst team in the league, the Cardinals, the Titans. All 3 of those teams have fewer than 5 wins on the season, and each of them has a win against the Falcons team. So it's going to be a tough situation there. The Saints playing very well right now. Derek Carr looking more healthy and more focused than he did earlier in the season, when wasn't expecting that much out of the Saints, and they're really coming to focus despite the injuries they've dealt with. They've gotten a little bit healthier on the receiver end these last few weeks, and that's helped. So I think the Saints are probably going to go out and win that game, which then makes what happens in the other game irrelevant, and what happens in the other game is probably the Bucs win. I mean, the Panthers had their big win a few weeks ago. Then they came out so completely flat against a pretty bad Jacksonville defense last week. Could not do anything offensively. Hard to see how they find the answers this week against a better Bucs defense here. So I'd say the Bucs probably win, make everything irrelevant. That happens in the Saints-Falcons game, but will be an interesting barometer for both those teams who entered the season both with high aspirations of making the playoffs because they had very easy schedules on paper, and that just did not come to pass for them.
Yeah, for sure about that. And looking over at one of these quarterbacks, obviously I would like to talk about Bryce Young and really where he needs to go from here. But that's mainly a organization situation right there. But Baker Mayfield for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he's been quite surprising this season because we think about him, we think about how he's a quarterback that kind of jumps around from team to team, maybe a second string, maybe somebody who's going to back up, and then maybe somebody who, if you're losing all your other quarterbacks, you might as well grab him. It's kind of what the Buccaneers did going into the season, and now he's a top 10 quarterback, at least statistically wise, with 3,907 yards, 28 touchdowns, and only 10 interceptions. Kind of just talk about, your feelings about Baker Mayfield, and is he finally a legit quarterback in this NFL realm?
Yeah, he was the analytics darling coming into the draft. A lot of people wanted him to go number one, but did not expect that to happen for the Browns, and ultimately it did, and he went number one and did not work out there in that offensive system. For whatever reason, he's taken to the Bucs system here. Part of that is probably the receivers he's had in place. When you're playing with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, it's pretty easy to be effective as a quarterback. Not just Tom Brady can be effective in that system. A lot of guys with that receiving talent. So that's helped him be in a good situation here. So smart of him to pick this situation where he obviously thought he was going to be a starter. The competition wasn't great. And now he can go on and continue to be a starter in his NFL path when it looked last year like he was just going to bounce around the league in the Sam Darnold type of role where he's just going to have to be a backup for a good team and then hope that he eventually gets a chance to prove himself. He took this year and proved himself. And considering the state of quarterback in this league, certainly he's going to be a starter next year probably for the Buccaneers.
Oh, most definitely. And, I mean, it is interesting because he's taken the Browns to the playoffs, and now why not take the Buccaneers to a playoff after, of course, losing Tom Brady only a few years ago. But, I mean, he's looked pretty solid doing it. And I just think back, he's able to find success when he does have these wide receivers help him out. Obviously, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham were helping him out for the Cleveland Browns back in 2020. But now he's able to do it with Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. Those guys are two very good talents. But another game that's intriguing because it pretty much is a playoff game in a way is this Colts versus Texans matchup. It is going to be in Indianapolis. Both of these teams at 9-7. C.J. Stroud looking as hot as always, and on top of that, they've got Nico Collins and their stout tight end. So kind of just talk about this one because Gardner Minshew also looking like a surprise quarterback this season.
Yeah, it's hard to know how to judge the Colts week to week. I mean, they are 9-7. They're 9 wins. They look like a top 10 team. They're 7 losses. They look like a bottom 5 team. They just never seem to play like in that middle ground. Gardner Minshew capable of making mistakes left and right at times, but when he's not doing that, the team is solid enough around him to go and get wins. I think this Houston team is a much better team right now. C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins being healthy gives them the much better offense, and that Houston defense came out very strong against the Titans. Will Anderson had a big game. Even with the injuries they've dealt with, they've gotten a few guys back on the defensive line. I believe their entire defensive line was dealing with injuries and on the injury report last week, and they were able to get a few of them back, and they played a difference. I believe Sheldon Rankins had a nice play, if I remember right, in that game. So it's a situation where I'm not sure which team has the better defense. I know which team has the better offense, and that's Houston. So I expect Houston to come out and win this game. I'm not surprised that the line has moved to them being slight favorites when it opened as them being slight underdogs.
RJ White with us from sportsline.com. And kind of taking a step away from the game analysis into actually what's been going on with the MVP race and the MVP odds. I mean, Lamar Jackson leading the race at minus 8,000 with Vegas Insider. And then Dak Prescott in second at plus 1,600 with Brock Purdy plus 2,800. But from all the opinions I've seen online and kind of a talking heads in the media, they've made it seem like this race is extremely close between a lot of these quarterbacks. Is Lamar Jackson out that far ahead in reality, according to Vegas Insider, or is this MVP race closer than we think?
I think he's probably out ahead. I mean, he'll sit this week. He won't have the chance to put up stats, but his case was never really based that much on stats. when you look at the yardage he is putting together. But he's still having a great, a well enough season overall statistically that when you combine his rushing and passing yardage, it still reaches that threshold for what you typically see MVP quarterbacks deliver, something I looked into earlier this week. So I think the last gasp of the race was what happened this past week with Baltimore against Miami. If Miami showed up and Tua had a great game there without Waddle, and Miami won that game, I think that Tua had a chance to win the MVP there. But with Lamar Jackson being so dominant in that game, statistically really putting to bed all the questions about whether he's quarterbacky enough, doing it with his arm in that game, I think is pretty much over here, and he's going to win the MVP.
Yeah, and two guys that come to mind whenever I think of some of these awards that are going down. Comeback Player of the Year is one of those things where you look at it and you see, obviously, Damar Hamlin's going to be up on there, but you don't see too much of him actually on the field. But one thing you do see is a guy named Joe Flacco coming back and playing pretty solid football. This has kind of been back and forth. I mean, if you were in charge of this whole thing, I know, the story of Damar Hamlin is a great one, but at the same time, Joe Flacco coming off the couch, watching the football with his kids on the weekends, coming back and winning games with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, that's just something that you don't really hear of unless it's in a storybook.
Yeah, I mean, something you also don't hear of is the situation with Damar Hamlin. Very scary what happened to him on the field, and that's why once he was cleared with a clean bill of health and it seemed like he was going to be able to continue his career, he was such a big favorite to win this award because the thinking was, even, we knew he wasn't going to come in and play a big role for the Bills, but if he even stepped on the field as an active player this season, he should win the award. And that's probably what a lot of the thinking goes to still making him favorite. It is interesting that Flacco came in and made this a race at the very end with how strong they've been, but the more interesting thing to me is Baker Mayfield kind of hanging around. We just talked about him, I think, third in the odds. He's been doing it all season. When Flacco came in, kind of saved the season for the Browns these last few weeks. When you look at the job that Baker Mayfield has done as a starting quarterback of that team all season, if they make the playoffs as they're expected, when they were projected to be last in the division in terms of odds and not given a great chance of playing, and Baker, of course, floated around as a backup last year, I think he really has the stronger case based on what he's done over his resume for an entire season, rather than just giving it to Flacco based on a few weeks' worth. A few weeks of value, or Damar Hamlin a few snaps of value, if you want to even go that far, since he hasn't played that much.
Yeah, for sure about that. But I need one guy from the Cleveland Browns to at least win an award, and if it's not the Comeback Player of the Year, maybe the Coach of the Year, maybe Kevin.
About Joe Flacco?
No, I'm talking about Kevin Stefanski possibly getting the Coach of the Year. I mean, he's been able to make it happen with 4 different quarterbacks now. RJ, give me a little bit of hope, or just tell me it's going to be DeMeco Ryans or something like that.
Yeah, the big favorite right now is Stefanski. Everybody's very impressed with the job that he has done managing those quarterbacks, the turnstile there. A lot of credit goes to Flacco with what he's done, but really just to have the position to come in and be a wild card team with the mess on that team, losing Nick Chubb in the second week of the season, their best offensive player, and Stefanski got it done. So that's why he's the big favorite. I think he probably will win the award at this point, much to my chagrin, because I did bet on DeMeco Ryans and Shane Steichen to win the award because they fit that mold of what people have been looking like, the voters have been looking like for this award, this first-year coach that overperforms expectations. And both have done that in tough situations. Steichen, of course, also lost his quarterback, and if he can eke out a playoff spot with a win over the Texans, I think he should deserve some credit there. And if DeMeco Ryans can take the team that was the worst in the league, even though they didn't get the number 1 pick because of that random Week 18 win at the end of the season, but the worst team in the league, and then turns them into a playoff team, I think he should deserve consideration. So even though the odds really favor Stefanski, and I understand the case, and I think he probably will win, I'm not tearing up my tickets on my guys either, because they've done also an impressive job with a team that wasn't expected to do as much as the Browns were this year.
No doubt about that. Texans and the Colts have both been looking very good despite the problems that they've been having on their rosters, as well as last season. It was abysmal last season. But either way, good stuff, RJ. Always love having you on. You always give us the most information. Let the people know where they can find you on socials and online.
You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at RJWhite1. You can find me online at Sportsline, where you get all my picks every week, including my contest best bets last week for that, because it's a regular season contest. But you'll also get Survivor contest, power ratings. I'm planning to put up my projected spreads for every potential wild card game this week as well, so you can kind of get a sense of where I think the strongest matchups will be for certain teams if you're eyeballing one team getting into the playoffs.
Very nice. Can't wait to talk playoffs with you next week. RJ White has been our guest. Good stuff.
Take care.
Well, Bandy, NFL is going to be like the main thing we talk about going into the playoffs, of course. And then I can finally start talking about the New York Islanders. Can we start talking hockey? Is it getting to that time?
I mean, it's in hockey season, but hey, I'll be able to talk about my Jazz here pretty soon. Even though we are not even in the playoff race.
Let's go to break. Just take it a break. I don't care.
You're listening to the Morning Blitz.
You don't got it. Go to break.
97.7 ESPN Zone.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at $5. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials. Football season and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar. The perfect combination of good times and great food. This season, score big with one of our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness. Our delicious burgers are made with premium Angus beef, and you can pair it with one of our signature cocktails or a cold craft beer from our huge selection. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar on the Parkway in Huntsville and our new location at Cliff Farm, Highway 72 in Madison.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky this afternoon. Temperatures are only going to climb into the mid-40s. The occasional rain shower is possible across North Alabama, southern and middle Tennessee. Looks like this activity is probably going to end up being more scattered in nature. I really don't foresee us talking about a lot of widespread rain across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures drop into the lower 30s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. A mostly sunny sky on Thursday afternoon, though it is going to be on the cooler end of the spectrum. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 40s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Everything you need is just a click away.
I screw up sometimes, silly.
Okay, almost everything.
Come on, pal. Tell your fortune.
Log on today. 977ESPN.com. 977 ESPN The Zone.
Now this is a song I can get behind in a different type of fashion. I remember Madden 09. You're going to hear a few of those songs starting off these segments. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery. If you guys want to hop in on the show real quick, 256-5764.
97.7
is the number to get in. It has been a very fun show. We got to talk, obviously, a little bit of high school basketball with Drew, turned into a little bit of the national championship preview. We're going to be talking with him more about that on Friday. On top of that, we've talked NFL. We've talked college women's basketball. Iowa, Caitlin Clark doing big stuff as she hits her 10th 40-point game of her career, which is just...
Time, Clark
do it again.
For the win!
Oh, just so nice. It just... How does it make that noise? It's like a whip.
One more time.
15. I don't think it was 15,000 people. There had to be a few more, and that's surprising. I will say that is surprising. First off, to just fit into a college arena, but second off, a women's basketball game. Very, very good stuff. But I also have, been more intrigued with this NFL slate because of just the sheer amount of wacky scores we got last week. First off, I did win the Super Bowl, so I will be rocking 2 rings soon enough. Whenever I come in here next year at some point, I'll get that ring for the the DFL and all that good stuff. But the Cardinals also beat the Eagles in crazy fashion. James Conner was absolutely ridiculous, had a one-hand grab in the end zone, also rushed for 128 yards on 26 attempts. He also scored a touchdown on the ground. On top of that, you go down the line. Panthers maybe would have had a chance to beat the Jags. It would have been something interesting. I know Wolverine Dan or one of the guys threw that out there for our Wacky Underdog picks. That didn't happen.
Did not happen.
26-0 yet again. And then their owner threw beer on the fan of the Jaguars.
He got fined for that too.
He did get fined for that. Very much fun over there. And then this one intrigued me the most. The Ravens and the Dolphins. I mean, when we knew this was going to happen at one point. I mean, if you're a Dolphins team that puts up 70 points on a team early in the season, it's going to come back to bite you. That's exactly what happened. The Ravens put up 56. And you know what's the most annoying thing about this? Is when reporters from the Dolphins get upset because, Harbaugh's putting up these unnecessary points. 56? Come on, you put up 70 on the Dolphins. I don't want to hear that. But, it was a touchdown pass at the end of the game that really just shut it out.
Actually, you know what that just reminded me of?
What?
We had a couple bit of unnecessary points happen last night, too.
Yeah?
Because we were talking about women's college basketball earlier with Iowa.
Yeah.
We had another thing happen.
Okay.
We had the biggest margin of victory record be broken last night between Grambling and the College of Biblical Studies.
Oh, my gosh. This is like Holy Cross level of crazy stuff.
Broke the Division I record for the biggest margin of victory with 141 points.
141. How much did the other team score?
So, Grambling beat them 159.
Oh, geez.
To 18.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. That's like Bishop Sycamore levels of bad.
No, I saw it was about, I think it was 80-12 at halftime. Or like 80-10 at halftime. I saw a tweet. It's like, don't worry about it. The College of Biblical Studies is a second half team.
I don't even think Nick Saban could have helped that team at that point.
I don't think any kind of adjustment's going to help that. But hey, congratulations for beating the record.
Yeah. Jeez. And beating like a dead horse pretty much.
You want to talk about unnecessary points.
Well, that totally killed the argument about the Dolphins being the most destroyed team from the week. Either way, got a lot of fun stuff coming up. Tomorrow's going to be a Thirsty Thursday. You know what that means. We got to get John Liggett on from Cherokee Ridge. Talk a little bit of golf. You guys will be able to call in, get some golf lessons on the show. Who knows? You might even perfect that swing thanks to the guru of golf, John Liggett. On top of that, we'll throw in some more college football preview as well as some NFL. So that's what's coming up in 22 hours here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's